I am back with the 2021 men's gift guide. I do this guide every year and it is one of my most requested videos, so I'm excited to do it again for you this year, just like every year. These are my own personal opinions. I am definitely overgeneralizing for what every man would want. Obviously, not every man is gonna want the same thing, and all of these gifts are not really gender specific. Most, if not all of them, a woman would probably appreciate as well. That being said, we're not gonna be PC today, and these are all specifically recommended for the men actually in my life. So how I came up with this gift list was, first of all, I looked around our house and I looked at the most used items that are used by the men in my family. And if you are unfamiliar with who I am, hi, my name is Marnie. I have been married to my husband for almost 25 years. It'll be 25 years this June. We've been together 28 years. So being with someone for a quarter of a century, you kind of get an idea of what at least that man wants. And we also have two boys who are 23 and 20. I guess technically they are considered men. It's hard as a mother to grasp that concept. But that's my sample size that I'm mostly dealing with, and their friends. So in no particular order, in fact, a very random order, here are about a dozen or so recommendations. So number one on the list is, I think it's the it gift of the season, is the Oculus VR headset. Now, there is another headset that a few people have recommended to me, and I will put it down in the description box. That one is extremely expensive. It's about $1,000 to start, and it does require a PC to use. Now, it's probably far better in the experience than the Oculus, but the advantage of the Oculus is, first of all, it's about $200-300, which is still a big ticket item, but far less than $1,000, and it doesn't require a PC to use. You just pop it out of the box, and it's plug and play, and you're good to, well, you don't plug into anything, I guess. Pull it out of the box, and you're ready to play. Number two on the list is a Theragun. If you're unfamiliar with a Theragun, it should be over here. It's basically a very vigorous electric percussive massaging machine, and I'm specifically recommending this for men because the men in my life, while they're all physically active, have something against stretching, both pre and post workout. So these are the people that are really gonna want that Theragun at the end of their workout when they're feeling more sore than they should. Also because my brother-in-law got one of these years ago and he loves it. So that is number two on the list. Number three is the Apple AirTag. Mine is still in the box because it is actually going to be a gift for our youngest son who is traveling over winter break, and we thought this would be a great idea to pop one of these into his checked baggage. So in case his baggage goes on a different trip than he does, he'll be able to track this down without depending on the airlines to find it for him. If you're unfamiliar with the Apple AirTag, it's the same concept as those tile things that were all the rage a few years ago. This one works with iPhone specifically. You can use the Find My iPhone app to track where this goes. You can, of course, tuck it into suitcases, briefcases, purses, wallets, backpacks. There is also the option of buying a keychain accessory that holds this so you can track down your keys. They make a great gift for anyone, especially men, and I would also have to recommend especially travelers, and if you're thinking ahead to high school graduation, your high school graduate. Number four on my list is possibly my husband's favorite thing. He is obsessed with it, and I think the word obsessed is definitely overused these days, but in this case, it is 100% applicable. So our air fryer is, I guess, that way, right behind me. I'll pop in a picture, and when I say I recommend an air fryer, I recommend our air fryer model. It is vastly superior to the other ones. I'm not saying that because I'm biased. It's because it's the second one we bought. The first air fryer we bought was more of the traditional model. That's kind of a bucket that you pull out, and it can fit about one chicken breast in there. So it's not much of a time saver when you have to make dinner for 2 or 3 or 4 people because you constantly have to redo it over and over. Our air fryer is huge. It doesn't take up that much more counter space than the traditional air fryer size, but the advantage is it opens like an oven. It is basically looks like a countertop oven, and it has 2 shelves in there, so you can easily fix a meal for an entire family. It also has all the multi-functions and even a rotisserie option, which we have never tried, but it's fabulous. My husband uses this thing every single day. Honestly, since we finally broke down and got one, I almost never make dinner because he loves it so much. He makes his lunch, he makes dinner. It is fabulous. Number 5 on the list I have recommended many times before. It's the Philips Norelco One Blade. It is essentially an electric razor. You can use it wet or dry, but unlike other electric razors, it gives a very close shave. It has a little serrated blade edge, so you can even use it to trim your beard, to trim your sideburns, goatee, and so forth. So really functional. My husband has one. Both of my boys have one. They've had one for years. And again, I would have to recommend that this makes a great gift for May, June time when you have graduating high school seniors. Great graduation gift. Number 6 on my list are headphones, but again, something specific. So all the men in my life do some sort of physical activity, which is great. And they all like to have headphones on to listen to whatever it is they listen to while they're running, playing golf, doing whatever it is they're doing that involves movement. But the complaint they all have is that the in-ear kind fall out if you move a little too much. In fact, just this morning, we took our dog on a walk and we passed a woman who was jogging and her AirPod fell out right onto the hiking trail. We got it back for her, but I understand it. Even just sitting still, my AirPods are constantly shifting and I have hung up accidentally. I can't tell you on how many calls because I'm adjusting it. So these wireless in-ear headphones, it's a mouthful, are the Power Beats Pro, and they stick into your ear like all the other kind, but then they have another piece that wraps over your ear, so they are much more secure, so you can feel a lot more confident swinging a golf club, jogging, even just taking a call on your phone. They're far more secure, and that is why they are definitely going on my gift guide. Number 7 on my list is a belt, but not just any belt. It's the Next belt. It's one word, Next without the T, belt. My husband loves his. He has, here's 3 and then 4. And I have recommended these in the past, and I've heard back from a lot of you that said these went over so well. So what's great about these is they are all different kinds of options. Like my husband has this kind, and then he has his Texas belt, very, very proud of being Texans. He has one with little golf clubs all over it. He has a more traditional black leather kind. So the advantage of these is that they are fully adjustable. It's like a one-size-fits-all concept. What's neat about these is that the belt itself is adjustable. So especially over the holiday season when their waistline may increase a little bit, they need to give themselves a little bit of room. You can do that, and then after the first year, when they start working out again, you can tighten it, all without having to buy a new belt every single time. I don't really understand why the men I know love these things. My husband has, like I said, 4 of them. His brother loves these things as well. And it is a nice belt. Well, all the different options. There's so many, many options. I'll link to just a few down below, but definitely go check out. There is a style for everybody. Number 8 on my list, going along with clothing, are Lululemon men's pants. Again, a specific model. I'll list it down below. I don't know if you're aware that Lululemon also makes men's clothing. Most of the time we're hearing about it in reference to women's clothing, and specifically women's leggings, but the men's clothes options are fabulous, and not just for any kind of working out or exercise. They make pants that are nice enough to wear into an office or a work setting. And I want to link the specific ones that everyone I know who has them loves them. They're a little bit pricier, which is why I think they would make a great gift, because maybe the recipient can't justify spending $100 or so on a pair of pants for themselves, but maybe you can, and it would make a really lovely gift. I will say that the size range is pretty good. The waist ranges from 28 to 40, which is pretty standard, but what I was impressed with is the amount of inseam options. Let me read this to you. You have 28, 30, 32, 34, and a 37-inch inseam. So if you have someone on the shorter side, you're covered, but even more importantly, I rarely see a 37-inch inseam. So if you've got somebody tall in your life or with some really long legs, Lululemon has literally got them covered. Number 9 on my gift guide for men list is not something that we currently have. It's on Michael's wish list, and I think it's pretty cool too. And it's a Yeti cooler, but again, not just any Yeti cooler. And I've recommended Yeti coolers before. They're amazing. I tell this story, I'm gonna tell it again. I tell it every year. So if you've heard it before, just bear with me. We hosted an after party for one of our kids' homecomings, and all the parents in the group signed up to bring something. So one dad came to bring the ice for the coolers, and he showed up Saturday morning about 10 o'clock in the morning, I think it was. And the party wasn't until midnight. and it was a Yeti cooler full of ice. And I said to him, this isn't gonna work. It's gonna be all melted by the time the kids get here at midnight. And he said, just watch. Also, I should say this is October in Texas when it's still easily 90, 100 degrees outside. Not only was that ice still in perfect condition that evening, when he came to pick up his cooler Sunday evening, it was still frozen solid and we had to dump it all out before he could get it into his car. So these things work. But the Yeti cooler that is on Michael's wish list is a Yeti cooler backpack. So it's a soft-sided cooler. Obviously you can wear it as a backpack, but what's also great about it is it fits behind the front seat of a car. So if you're going on a road trip, we go on a road trip all the time. It's a great way to get your snacks and drinks in there, and it doesn't take up a ton of space, and you can easily reach around to get, a snack or a drink out of there. So the Yeti backpack, brilliant idea, comes in a ton of colors as well. So every year I recommend a fragrance, and this year I have 2 to recommend. So the first one is the one that my husband has been wearing for years and years and years, decades, and it's the Royal Musk. It's a cologne, actually. And we used to only get this at Brick Brothers. Now you can get it on Amazon, a few other places. I'll link it to Amazon. I love this. My kids love this. I can't explain. It just smells so good and masculine and sexy, and it's really unique to any other scent that I have ever smelled in a department store. So I absolutely love this. They make other fragrances in the Royal line, but the Royal Musk for me is the standout. Now, I have another one, not even remotely budget friendly, but a couple years ago, I worked with a brand called House of Sillage. They make very high-end women's fragrances, men's fragrances, and lipsticks, and they had sent me a sample of the men's fragrances, and our oldest son loved them. And so when he graduated from college, I got him the House of Sillage men's, I think, #1 fragrance as a gift. And he graduated in 2020. And just this year for Hanukkah, he needed a refill. So we got him another one for Hanukkah. They are sold at Saks. They are not even remotely budget friendly. But I have to say the House of Sillage, especially the men's fragrances, are so unique. I don't know how else to say this. They smell expensive, but they smell so good. I'm not even going to attempt to describe the fragrance to you. I'll link it below and you can read all the top notes, the middle notes, all the notes if that's something that you want to learn about. But when my son wears it, he says he always gets asked what he's wearing because it smells so good. All right, we are up to number 11, and I have something that is absolutely perfect, especially if the man on your list travels. If he travels for work, that doesn't happen as much as it used to, but it's still a thing. And it is this duffel bag, which mine is empty, so it's not gonna hold the shape. But this is not your everyday duffel bag. It is a duffel bag that when you unzip it, turns into a hanging garment bag. This is absolutely brilliant. It unzips on the sides. And it folds out completely flat and turns into a garment bag. I'm gonna go ahead and insert pictures so you can see a better idea. When it's fully folded back up and zipped up into a duffel bag shape, there's also a compartment that zips open on the side. You can shove shoes in or other things. There's all kinds of little compartments to pack, not just like a suit and a nice shirt and pants, but like all the other things you would need. Definitely enough to get you through a weekend, especially these days when nobody wants to check a bag if they can avoid it. This is carry-on size. I think it is genius. I say this specifically for men because it doesn't open up long enough for a woman's dress, unless you wanted to fold it, which, isn't the end of the world. You definitely could. But I think in particular, this thing is great for men. I just purchased this for my husband. We are going on a trip the end of January, and he's very excited to use this. Also, I forgot to mention, it has a luggage sleeve on one side of it, so it can slip down onto a piece of rolling luggage if you are checking something. Number 12 on my list is totally random, but when I was scrolling through ideas and sitting in front of my computer and looking through all the things, I was on the Nordstrom website, and my husband Michael saw this. He's like, those, what are those? I want those. And they are the Viore joggers for men. I have never tried on the women's. I have heard they are incredible. I can't tell you from experience why people love these joggers so much, but they have a cult following. Apparently they make them in a men's style as well, and they are sitting in my cart as we speak. for my husband, who is just in the other room. Number 13, much more budget friendly and something we use every morning is this coffee mug warmer. Now I have 3 of these now, one on each side of my bed, one for me, one for my husband, and then I have one actually in the front of the house, because when you're not using it as a coffee mug or tea mug warmer, you can pop a candle on it and use it almost like a wax melt. It'll heat up the candle and release the scent. What I love about this is it actually keeps your drink hot. It might even make it a little bit hotter. And it doesn't have an auto off switch, which could bother some people, but I like that it's not activated by weight. Like I can set something down on it. It's not gonna turn on until I flip the switch. But unlike a lot of coffee warmers that have that auto off and the weight activated thing, it also stays on long enough to actually keep your beverage hot. A lot of the other options turn off after 10 minutes, 15 minutes, they don't retain the heat like this thing does. I've had this for years. It's like 15 bucks and it's an unobtrusive design. It does have the light in the front of it so that you know if it's on, if you forget. But I think it goes with any decor. It's very neutral and my husband loves this. It's great to have on your nightstand, great for them to have at their desk if they like to drink a cup of coffee while they work or whatever. Have to recommend this. And then the very last thing that I have to recommend this year, because I am losing my voice, is a Barefoot Dreams throw blanket. But again, not just anyone, because I think most people, when you hear Barefoot Dreams blankets, you think of the animal print one that doesn't really scream masculine, but they have a camel one and they have one, they call it, I think, the digital print one. Looks a little techno, definitely has a more masculine lean to it. And everybody likes to be cozy and cuddle under a blanket, man, woman, child, whomever. So I think this would make a great gift for any age, boy or man. My kids steal my Barefoot Dreams blankets all the time. My dog steals my Barefoot Dreams blanket all the time. So I'm gonna round it off with a Barefoot Dreams throw blanket, especially coming into the holiday season when it is cold outside. Well, that's it for this year's recommendations. I'm gonna say goodbye before I completely lose my voice. If you have any other ideas that you wanna add to the list, keep the conversation going, mention them in the comments below. Everything is listed in the order in which I described it here, down in the description box where it says show more. Thank you so much for hanging out with me again this year. I hope that maybe I gave you some good ideas. I can't wait to see what yours are, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.